Check 1, 2. Return to people.
What's happening, everybody? We are back to Return to People. Today's guest is a true innovator in the world of global talent and remote team building. He pivoted to tackle a new challenge, and that's helping logistics companies scale smarter with offshore talent. As the founder of Valoroo, he is rewriting the playbook on people-first outsourcing by blending trust, accountability, and extreme ownership across teams in Belize, Mexico, and the Philippines. Viewers and listeners, please welcome Nick Schrock. We love you, Nick! You're the best, baby! You're so sexy, Nick! We love you! Studio audience is crazy, Nick. Thank you for joining us, man. Thank you for joining us. How you doing, man?
Thanks for having me. Pleasure to be here.
That's cool, man. So before we jump right into it, man, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you landed where you are today?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, so I had a career in sales. So I was just bounced around selling enterprise software, eventually moved into selling logistics. And I landed with a logistics startup in San Diego. And if you're ever familiar with startups, like you just do a little bit of everything. It's like whatever problems get solved. I got tasked with building an offshore lead generation team and ended up being pretty successful with that. Built some more offshore teams, which is really the idea for where Valoroo came from. Like, hey, how can I build these teams for other logistics companies? How can we help them leverage talent and scale more efficiently? And so in 2019, I branched off, started my own thing, and we were off to the races. And so what we do is we help specifically supply chain companies, but we help some other businesses as well with this kind of same problem set. But it's really just, hey, entry to mid-level positions. How do we fill them with really competent people that have about 10 years of experience that can really execute, who might be a third the cost of a US hire? So you get the talent without the burden of the payroll. And it's been really successful for us.
Interesting. You know, a lot of times in this whole world of workplace flexibility and remote work, people don't really think about logistics. And, you know, I have an old college roommate of mine. Shout out Josh. Shout out Norm. I see you out there, Freegons. Can you just talk to us a little bit about like what is logistics?
It is a good question because it means so many different things, right?
Because you don't think about, like, I think of trucks and I'm like, well, they don't work flexibly. Like, they got to be in a truck. So talk a little bit about the specific business and how logistics impacts general users who may not know.
Yeah, and it's a good question because supply chain means so many different things. Because I'll say that to one person and they think small parcel like e-commerce. I'm working with Amazon and moving these, and it's like, we don't do any of that. It's like, oh, so you're working with ocean containers, you're shipping things from the Philippines. It's like a little, but not really. But most of what we do is what people don't realize is like most of the trucks you see on those roads, those 52 footers, they're independent owner operators. It's a guy, he owns one truck, he's driving around. And so, but that naturally presents a problem where Walmart doesn't want to have a relationship with 100,000 different truck drivers, right? Correct. So then they go to a broker. And so a broker will have all these relationships, but now you've got all these shippers, you've got all these truck drivers, you have all these dispatchers, and it just produces a lot of communication work, building loads, negotiating rates with all of these carriers. And it presents an opportunity for us where it's like, hey, you just need to find out where this truck driver is, input this information. Not only is that nobody in the States even wants to do that. It's like, hey, I need you to make 250 phone calls a day to do this one thing over and over again. So it's not just that it's like we're replacing. It's like, no, they'd rather talk to the rep at Walmart, build that relationship, figure out how we get more business there. So what supply chain means for us is helping shippers, whether it's, Coca-Cola, water companies, different products, get from point A, whether that's the port to the delivery warehouse and kind of orchestrating that. And I'd say that's the most common. Yeah, we do work in and out of the ports. We do rail, air, all these different things. But I'd say the bulk of our work is kind of over the road transportation. So business to
Fascinating.
business. Yeah.
So that is why most of the work that you do is behind a computer because you're the person kind of managing
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
space in between. So
Just orchestrating.
orchestrating. Wow.
Schedule, like a driver needs to get into Walmart warehouse. You can't just pull up, you need an appointment. Well,
Mm.
who's going to reach out to Walmart to schedule the appointment? It's not the truck driver, it's not his dispatcher, it's the
Hmm.
broker who then hires us to do it. So
You
for
see
one
that, everybody?
example.
Stuff just doesn't show up at your
Yeah.
store magically. There's a lot of people and a lot of different things that have to happen. So this makes a lot of sense now, Nick. Now I'm connecting the dots. So when you decided to embrace remote work and hybrid work, what was the main reason? Obviously, you have people in another country, but like, how did you decide to go this route when in a space where I assume a lot of people are used to the traditional, you need to be in an office type of industry? So, how did you decide I'm going to do things a little differently?
Yeah, and it would definitely have been easier to sell into companies if we like started out like, hey, we've got this big office with all these folks in the Philippines or Mexico, and we can get into that in a moment. But I would say it started out just money, right? It's like when I started the company, I was like 28, 29 years old. It's like
Okay.
I didn't have a pilot. We sold our house, we sold some cars, we moved into a cheaper part of town in like a 900 square foot apartment. It's like, hey, you've got some cash, like, because we'd saved up, but it's not open an office in a different country money. It's, I
Yep.
don't have to work for a few months while I try to make this work money,
Feel
right?
that. Okay.
So
Okay.
it's like, how do we bootstrap this? We didn't raise funds. We didn't take out SBA loans or anything. It's like, we're going to try to do this as efficiently as possible. And hiring someone to work out of their house, it's like you cut a ton of overhead out of this.
There it
So
is.
our initial
Check.
start to start a small business was like, we just need to do this and we can't afford to open an office. And there's tons of other benefits from there, but we
That was the
didn't,
motivator.
that's not the, like, I would love to say we did it for all these, I want to
Yeah.
treat my people right. It's like, I couldn't afford it. I couldn't afford
Mm.
it. This is how we had to do it. My team was at my previous company was remote, so I knew it would be successful. I knew it wasn't
Oh,
going to be a
okay.
hindrance to do it.
So you had some experience in logistics with remote employees.
We were 100% in office in San Diego, but our folks in the Philippines were all remote. So I was like, hey,
Okay.
I just duplicated that model.
Okay. Awesome. So you decide to make this shift. You're doing your own thing from your 900 square foot apartment.
Yeah.
Um, Things started doing pretty well, I'm assuming. You probably started adding more clients, you add more staff. So can you just talk a little bit about growth of the company? Like when did you start having more employees? And yeah, could you just talk about your growth up until today?
Yeah, great, fun question. So we were, as most small businesses, we were bumpy for the first 6 months, I'd say. But
And this
once
is
we really,
2019 prior to the pandemic.
2019, right?
Okay.
And pandemic was actually great for freight, which is like kind of opposite because everybody, yeah, we shut down for a few months because of the world shut down.
Yes.
However, now everyone's stuck at home. So everybody's like, hey, I want to buy stuff. Like I want to and I want to buy things, I want to fix things, I want to pick up all these hobbies. If you guys remember, it's like stores like were shelves were empty.
Yes.
People were everything was filled. And so what that means is like more trucks need to move more freight. And
Yes.
so the price freight is kind of managed on a price per mile basis. And that essentially doubled, right? Which means profit margins double. And everybody, so then people need to hire tons of folks to support all that freight. So it was very, very good for us. And so from there, that was kind of a launching pad for us. It's like we hired tons of folks. And honestly, we've been doubling ever since. We doubled in
Wow.
2020, we doubled in 21, doubled in 20, all the way up until today, which we're on pace to double this year as well. It's getting harder the larger we get.
Hmm.
However, that's kind of my sales background helps in this, but we just have an awesome team, right?
Mm.
Where our product's very, very good. So we don't really lose customers and all
Hmm.
of our customers scale with us. But yeah, that's been our growth trajectory, which is we're still bootstrapped. We haven't raised
Yep.
funds or anything. So it's made us mature very quickly, build
Yeah.
systems, get things in place, become a real company relatively quickly, and kind of grow out of that small business phase where you're kind of just like making
Hmm.
each decision individually, no
Yes.
processes, etc.
Totally get that. So you went from roughly yourself to how many employees do you manage now, remotely slash in a hybrid environment?
Yeah. So our employee count is super tied to our revenue. So we're not, but hundreds, like on the high
Okay. Okay.
hundreds counts, thousands of people
That's
at this point. Yeah.
that is unbelievable, man. So
Yeah.
you basically went from yourself in a so
Right. Yeah.
yourself in a 900 square foot bedroom into 10 people, 20 people working for you, hundreds of people.
Right.
So
Yeah.
with that, there has to be some growing pains. There has to be
For
some
sure.
challenges when you are implementing a remote and hybrid team. What were some of your biggest challenges, when we were talking about that employee experience, attracting talent, hiring talent, through the whole life cycle, that employee life cycle? What have been some of your biggest challenge around that remote slash hybrid employee experience?
Yeah, I would say it's kind of two sides to this coin. Number one is on the client side, because as you mentioned, as your assumption, like logistics is not a young guy's game, right? It's not modern. It's
Yes, there we
most
go.
people that own logistics companies are in their 50s, maybe even their
Mhm.
60s, past family businesses that get generated. They want butts and seats. They want to see you in an office. They want you coming in, clocking in 9 to 5, whether that's in Chattanooga, Chicago, you name it. It's like, fine, I don't mind hiring people in Mexico. I don't want them working. I can't manage them. So there's this natural objection we have to overcome, right?
Mm.
And so it's a
And the
growth.
pandemic didn't help with that, though. I mean, it must have
It
made it
helps
a
a
little bit
little.
easier.
It helped in 2020 because their hands were tied. They couldn't find people to work because
Yeah.
people in the US were one, they were getting checks. So it's like, I don't need to go work. I don't want to make 250 calls. I want to play Warzone with my friends. It's like that's what everybody was doing. But after that, it's like, hey, if we want to keep growing and figure this out, we have to overcome this objection. So that was one challenge. The other one is managing remote folks. It's we found the majority of people thrive in this environment and do a really good job, but there is the 10 to 20% that are going to take advantage. It's like
Of course.
I'm going to have three jobs. I'm going to work all three, or I'm going to get a mouse jigger or something that simulates activity, and then I'm going to work, 20% of the time until you notice and fire me, which is bad for us because it's bad for our clients. And then the last piece is just the lack of
So that's managing performance, though. So let's just
managing
step back.
performance.
So
Yeah,
that what you're talking about, and just to kind of reset for everybody on the show, like performance management is not easy, even face to face. Do employee evaluations. We've kind of been like programmed to just check the boxes and
yeah,
ignore them. But back to kind of like what you were just talking about, you can't wait a whole year to do the employee performance evaluation. And if you don't have your KPIs set up, this is where you should be after day 3 on
right.
the job. This is where you should be after day 7. And these different checkpoints, which you've learned, like you were just talking about, like, hey, we have to be able to determine if the employees are productive or not very quickly. If you don't have these things in place, you were just getting ready to explain, like, oh my gosh, like our reputation's on the line. This person hasn't been doing these things. It could really compound, not to mention how much time you've wasted in the hiring. It could really be an issue if you don't have your performance management set up right. So a lot of people have agree that is a pretty big challenge. What was the other challenge you were going to get into?
The last one is just cultural. Folks being in an office, it's kind of natural. You don't have to really work at it. It's like you hire good people. Like
Mm-hmm.
when I say good, I mean just like good
Human beings.
humans, good human beings. You
Yeah,
get
yeah.
them together. Culture is it's going to ruminate. People
Build.
are going to go out to happy hours after work, whether you fund it or not. You have to do things like you have to organize it. Hey guys,
Mm.
there's a happy hour. Everybody come get out of your house. Let's get together. Let's hang out. And it takes more work with a remote environment. I also think it's
Mm.
more rewarding though, because people appreciate
Oh,
it. Yeah.
wow.
You
Wow.
can say, I mean, we work together every day virtually. It's like when we get together once a quarter, we're gonna be like, man, this is great. Like it's an
More
event now.
more hugs. I'm sure there's way more hugs
Yeah, for
than
sure.
handshakes because
Yeah.
it's like, Nick, we've been talking for a whole year and now we're
Yeah.
doing this
Yeah.
thing. That's pretty cool. So, just kind of talking about this piece a little bit. So, kind of talking about like employee engagement, culture, keeping people connected to the mission, the vision, and just those microcultures that are built when you're in person. I'm just curious, knowing that that's a big challenge, were there anything that you did specifically to address that challenge? Like you just talked about it. Like what were some of the things that you ended up learning to address that challenge of getting people together and building cultures? Did you do things? Did you try things?
Yeah, I think it was, and people will let you know, right? Like the first year to it's like we couldn't afford to do that either. It's like we can't afford to pay for like an outing. But it's like
Mm-hmm.
once you've had some success, latter part of 2020 going into 21, everybody's like, "Hey, can we do a Christmas party? Can we do this?" And once you do one event, you see the benefits of it. It's just really clear, right? It's like, hey,
Mm,
everybody got together, it's bonding and increases employee retention. Everybody likes to be to do. And then you just start doing more of it. It's like, hey, how do we do these? And in the Philippines, right, for specific, Mexico's a little different. Belize is different because everybody's together. Where Philippines, it's like there's islands. It's like people have to fly to get to each other. So you have to do an event in Manila, event in Northern Luzon, event in Cebu, and kind of get all these together. And yeah, we'll get to everyone together once a year at the end of the year, but once a year is not enough. It's like that is like
right.
bare minimum check in the box. It's like it's good to have these like you said, these individual teams get together and do different things. And then recently, what we've started doing is we call it Valoroo Cares, but they're essentially charity events where it's like, hey, we're doing a beach cleanup. Everybody get together. We're going to clean up this beach. We're going to input a fake reef.
Mm.
Afterwards, we're all going out to happy hour. Company funds the whole thing, but now it's got dual purpose. It kind of brings everybody together, and it's just really cool, to be honest.
Well
So,
done, Nick. Well done, sir. So you definitely, I can tell, and I'm excited to have you on the show because as the CEO, you could tell that you took on the importance of culture head on as the leader. And obviously, you're trying to make money. Everyone's trying to make money,
sure.
but you can
Yeah.
tell that you yourself put some of these things at a high priority, even if it was at the cost of, I mean, you could have not planned those events and had more money in your pocket, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty simple. So,
100%. But
so that's
to
pretty
your
cool.
point, and I think it's really good to say, because I love startups, right? And
Hmm.
startups are like, we preach culture, we preach culture. But if you don't make money for long enough, what happens? Like layoff, culture goes. You have to make money in order to have good culture. Like the business has to be sustainable. And
Yes.
the more money, I don't know if this is direct, I believe it is. The more money you make, or the better your business is, the better your quality is, the better culture you can create. It's like, look at Google. It's like the best culture in the world. I don't think it's shocking that they're also one of the most profitable companies in the world. It's like they can
Right.
afford to put in slides. Now, I can't put in slides and ball pits and free
Right.
food every day. Maybe eventually we can do that stuff. But yeah, those two very much go hand in hand. Like
But you still have to make a choice though. They could have
you
chose
do.
not to do that, right?
True.
Like again, you could have chose, look, I know you guys want to get together, but we're not doing it because I want to go to Fiji. And you didn't do that, sir.
Yeah.
So I'm just giving you some love. So take it.
Right. I appreciate it. I
Accept the
appreciate
love,
it.
man. Accept the love.
Yeah.
So,
But they don't. I bet they don't retain people though either. Like, I know they don't. Companies like that, that our owners are just trying to strip all the money out of the business and not push it back to the employees and the agents. It's
mhm,
like those agents don't stick around. They don't have as good quality. It's like it all goes full circle. You have to take care of your people.
there it is. You've heard it. I think that's the quote right there. We're gonna pull. That's gonna be a
There you
quote
go.
right there. You have to take care of your people. You're just dropping knowledge.
100%.
You're
Yeah.
dropping good quotes here. All right, so you had some challenges. You talked about some of the challenges. What have been your biggest successes since you've embraced this remote and hybrid work? I know you've hinted at some of them, but what are some real specific ones that you feel like have been like, yeah, man, because we're doing this, we are crushing this piece in the
Yeah.
experience?
Yeah. In remote, I'd say the number one, and it leads to some real successes that we talked about briefly, but
Okay.
remote work. gives us access to a much broader talent pool than if we were only hiring in downtown Manila, right? And that allows us to have a superior product, which, yeah, we might have some trouble getting our foot in the door at some of these customers because we are remote. But
Mm-hmm.
once we're there, it's that door gets kicked open because the talent's so much better, the output's so much better, and the quality of the service we're providing to our clients is just incredibly difficult for competitors that are 100% in office to compete with, right?
You have
And
overhead.
yeah, and it's overhead, yes, because I would say it's like, yeah, we might be slightly cheaper, but that overhead I can now put into salaries. So I can pay higher quality people. I can get people with most BPOs are not hiring people with 10 years of experience because those people are expensive. They're
Mm-hmm.
expensive. And so I can charge the same price, pay people 50% more, get someone that's 10x better. And it's just, it allows, it's, I'd say, with us outperforming competitors, that's why we double every year, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so you can tie this all back. It's like like our number one. I mean, you see it behind me. I know there's a massive glare, but people first. It's like it's all we talk about every day, and remote is a big piece of that. It's like we do have offices that are required to come in, so I don't want to act like I don't want to be hypocritical because we
Of
do need to
course.
this for certain
Certain
jobs.
functions. Yep.
But in general, we are a primarily remote company. And
Yeah.
so this is a big piece of how we deliver for our clients. So, I mean, I can tie this into a number of different ways, but I would say it really comes down
Talent.
to allows us to get better talent, allows us to retain that talent, which allows us to outperform competitors and drive a ton of value for our clients.
That is, man, there's a lot there, man.
Yeah, for sure.
It definitely attracted more talent. Is there anything else that kind of sticks out in your mind, outside of the attraction of talent, the availability of talent around the world that you feel has really excelled what it is that you're doing? Is there anything else that you want to mention?
I would say it's so much easier to manage than offices because we have offices.
Really?
Oh
Really?
my,
Nick, this is unbelievable.
oh
You're the
my
first
God, it's
person
so
to
much
say,
easier.
explain. Okay. So in every episode, we've interviewed over 100 and something people over the years, and almost every person says, remote work is more difficult to manage because of how much intention you have to have and how much effort that it takes. And you were talking about earlier, like cultures just build themselves by
Yeah,
themselves. So I want to know, stick to what you were saying. Stick to what you were saying.
happy to talk about it. So
Yeah.
it's because we did it backwards. Most people
Okay.
go from office and then try to manage remotely. So
Oh,
I can
right.
imagine why that's difficult for them because office
Right.
is more intuitive because you can just walk over and step over someone's shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
However, we have all these remote practices in place, like screen monitoring, checking what apps they're on, activity reports. How many offices have you been in where they track that stuff? They don't. We do. If you're in an
Hmm.
office, we're still tracking all that stuff. We get way more red flags from in our offices than we do from remote work
What?
because people they don't think about it as much. So it's like here, it's like it's like okay, come on. So you call the manager, go over there and look. So you think your manager's walking the floor all the time and doing these different things. And so they're different problem sets that you have to manage. And this
Yes.
isn't country. We run into this in the Philippines, we run into this in Mexico, in Belize, in the United States. It's really certain people are going to execute on their own and be autonomous and do all these different things where you just have to apply that same work and people kind of there's more chit chat, there's more distractions in an office, people are away from their computer more
Unbelievable.
often. Yeah, I would.
Track your data. Track your data because, like, what Nick is saying right now is exactly right. Just because butts are in seats does not mean they're working.
It's true, and I would say the difference is because we still track it in office. Like it's
Right.
just this isn't my opinions, it's like this is what our metrics are telling us what happens. And so we just have to coach it just like everything. It's not a huge problem. It's not detrimental. It's
Right.
like a
Right.
small thing we have to deal with. But yeah, it isn't, it's always been interesting to me. So yeah.
That is really fascinating, Nick. Thank you so much for sharing that. And, I think the point that you're making, the point that you made, it just, I hate seeing these posts that say, oh, well, only certain people can work from home or work. Well, yes, like I get that, but we all had to learn a modality to work. And if you want to survive, you better figure it out, right? And no
Right.
matter which workspace you're working in, there are human beings that are going to execute, and then there are human beings that aren't going to be able to execute as well,
Yeah.
regardless of if you have them in office or not. So it's the same challenge that you're dealing with. So it just kind of drives me insane when I hear people like, oh, well, all people can't do this. And it's like, well, all people can't do this in any space. It's not just remote. So
And why do you think, I've got a question for you. So right now, like the economy's shifted, I think. It's not nearly the booming economy. And say what you will about it.
Yeah.
You see it in the business environments and whether it's layoffs, all these different things.
Yep.
But there's this huge push now and like, we're going back to office. Everybody needs to come back. And I'm like, is this metric driven? Is this just a lever you're trying to pull to insinuate? I'm not sure. I'm really curious, like what's driving this and what's going from there. And I see it a lot in the startup world and kind of
Big
out of
time.
Silicon Valley,
Yeah.
but also in finance, you hear it from those guys as well. And they're being praised. It's like, yes, make your people come back.
Yeah.
I'm like, good. You spend more money.
Keep doing that. So by the way, we've been growing double. Everyone should go back to the office is what Nick is saying in this episode.
100%. Please go back. I will hire the people that quit, your rock stars that quit because they want to work remotely. It's advantageous for us.
That's hilarious. It's definitely not metrics driven, Nick. I think you're the person who's making metrics driven decisions. Because one of the things I've always asked, Amazon, right? Insurance companies, they are the best data driven predictive analytics companies in the world, basically, right?
Yeah. I would
so why haven't we seen a report from any of these people detailed with productivity dips? If any of those companies would have came out with this slide deck of productivity dipping because people are working remotely, it would have been used on the front page of every publication in the world. No one has actually provided that evidence. Isn't that fascinating? Yeah. It's fascinating. Yeah. Nick, last question. We'll wrap up the show here. If you could get in a time machine and go back, what piece of advice would you give to yourself regarding the employee experience?
Regarding the employee experience.
That's right. What piece of advice would you give to yourself?
I would say early on, we were very much flying by the seat of our pants a little bit, like we're making decisions and kind of going from there. And that allowed us to be really agile and make some quick decisions on things. But as comfortable as I am with, things kind of being all over the place and moving really quickly and going, it's like, that's really great for me. That's not what employees want. They want to know their careers have a future. It's a very linear projection. They want to know that their jobs are secure, right? And like sometimes things will get bad news in the company, whatever it is. And it's like, I'm like, yeah, it's whatever. It's like, we'll be fine. It's like, whatever, a dip in EBITDA for the next couple of months, And then, it's like, hey, do I have a job? I go, hold on. I need to address the company. What do you mean? Do you have a job? Like we're going to be in business. But I found employees and agents tend to think worst case. And it's like, am I safe? What's going to happen? So a good, not only over communicating how the business is doing, having a very clear, hey, this is how you get promoted. This is how you get raises. This is what's expected of you. This is like you mentioned earlier. This is metrics you're going to be measured against. I wish we would have done that sooner because I know we lost some really good people because we were too all over the place.
Yeah. Some people don't like that instability. They don't like that. They're just uncomfortable. Yeah.
I would say most. And I can completely understand because they're also not looking at the same metrics I am. and they're not seeing kind of the future roadmap. And I don't have time to communicate to every single individual. So if you can just generally tell people where you're at, where the company's going, but more importantly, where they're at, what's expected of them and where they're going. I think if we would have done that, we do that now, we're very good at it. But for the first couple of years, I mean, that would have been great advice. And it's not tough. It's like a quick conversation, right?
Yeah.
It's like just laying out metrics.
But
So,
again,
good.
Nick, it's intentional. You got to
Yeah.
think about it. You
Yeah,
got to
for
do it
sure.
consistent. So all these things add up and people feel the weight of heaviness. Nick, lots of great stuff in this episode. Really appreciate the time that you spent with us, man. Kudos to you for the growth, how you're helping these logistics companies. And also, too, by the way, you know, you're helping, in my opinion, one of the great reasons remote work exists is that you're able to kind of help grow other areas of the world that may be a little not as fortunate as us when it comes to opportunities for work. So, you know, I think you deserve some kudos for that. You should, you know, pat yourself on the back for that because you are helping some of these areas. So appreciate that. Nick, where can our listeners and viewers find you online, on the interwebs, on the social medias? Where can they find you?
Yeah. Valoroo.com is our website, VALOROO.com. And then, I mean, Nick Schrock on LinkedIn. If you want to send me a message, chat at all. My direct email is nick@Valoroo. I'm happy to chat with anybody directly as well.
Awesome, Nick. Once again, thanks again to our listeners and viewers. Thank you for joining us. Please be safe out there, and we'll talk to you all soon. Peace.